I really enjoyed Tooth Fairy. I think the pacing was not perfect, but in general, I had a lot of fun with this film. And I think I'd seen it before, but a long time ago, and I couldn't remember a lot about it. So I'm just considering this to be the first time that I've seen it, and I rather enjoyed it. This was released in 2010. It's directed by Michael Lembeck. We have a screenplay by Lowell, Ganz, Babaloo, Mandel, Joshua Sternin, Jennifer Ventimilia, Randi Meyer-Singer, and we have a cast including Dwayne Johnson as Derek. We also have Ashley Judd, Stephen Merchant, Seth MacFarlane, Julie Andrews. Solid cast, great performances. Absolutely love the narrative. And I will say one of my all-time favourite films has a premise that's ever so slightly similar, and that film is Toothless with Kirstie Alley. It's not really the same apart from the basic concept, but I guess the point there is that I already have a favourite film about a tooth fairy, so I didn't know if I would really love this or if I'd constantly be comparing it to Toothless. I'm pleased to say I didn't compare it. They are very different. They feel very different. And just as a side note, if you haven't seen Toothless, I definitely recommend it. This one focuses on Dwayne Johnson's character, Derek, who is summoned to play the part of the Tooth Fairy because, well, he's got a bit of an awkward attitude and several things happen at the beginning of the film. Things that are all revolving around teeth. Some of it's to do with the fact that he's a minor league hockey player and is violent to the point of people's teeth getting knocked out, and then something else happens where he nearly ruins the magic of the Tooth Fairy, so he is ultimately summoned to be the Tooth Fairy and learn various lessons along the way, and I think it's fantastic. As a concept, I really thoroughly enjoyed it. I loved the scenes with the other Tooth Fairies as well. I thought those scenes were definitely some of my favourites. I would have liked a little bit more there. And this one's a personal preference thing, but I would have liked a little bit less time spent playing hockey because I don't care about it. But if you're a hockey fan, I'm sure you won't find those scenes in the film to be too bad. But I do think still the pacing isn't great. There was one scene in particular, and again, maybe it's because I don't care about hockey at all, actually, not a huge fan. There's a scene, I think maybe in the final third, where we are at a hockey match, and it just seemed to go on and on forever, and there were a few times throughout where the pacing wasn't great, and that for me is probably the biggest complaint about the film. And it's not a huge deal because even when the narrative was slow, I still really enjoyed Dwayne Johnson's performance in this one. Visually, it's quite an appealing film. Derek often has wings as a tooth fairy, and Julie Andrews has the most amazing wings. The costume there, absolutely stunning. And in general, I thought it was a really fun film. Not perfect, some room for improvement, but the narrative worked well. The performances were very good, obviously particularly from Dwayne Johnson. And I found it to be a little funny, not laugh out loud funny, but still quite pleasant and ultimately a really enjoyable experience. If you liked this, do check out Toothless. In my opinion, Toothless is a very underrated film, by which I mean I don't know anybody in my real life who has even seen the film, apart from, I think, my mother, who has obviously seen it, because I would put it on, I think she recorded it off of the television onto a blank VHS, so I would put it on a lot, and obviously she's seen it, but I don't know anybody else in my personal life who has seen it. So if you haven't seen it and you liked Tooth Fairy, definitely check it out. And vice versa. If you like that film, check this one out. As I said, they're not really similar, other than somebody who has some connection to teeth. Kirstie Alley's character is an orthodontist. They end up playing the role of the Tooth Fairy. That's basically where the similarities end. But either way, Tooth Fairy is a really great film. Really thoroughly enjoyed it. Some room for improvement, but ultimately it's a very good experience. And if it sounds like it might appeal to you, then needless to say, I'm very happy to recommend it.